Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is able to hear me and everyone is able to see my screen. If possible, can someone please confirm if you are able to hear me clearly and able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. Voice is clear, sir.
Thank you. So, guys, so far, yesterday class, what I discussed is propagation levels of a transaction management. Okay. By default propagation. Whenever I write at the rate of transactional keyword, the default propagation is required. Required is the default propagation. What is the purpose of required is nothing but it always makes sure that only one transaction object will be exists. In my case, organization service is one class, employee service is one class, insurance service is another class. Even though you have three classes, if you write required, it will make sure that only one transaction object exists and it will take care of either full commit or full rollback. Full commit means what? If everything is done, organization will move the data, employee will move the data, insurance will move the data, right? If anything is failed, all the three will be rolled back automatically. So this is the typical situation of a organization service with a transaction case is required transaction level, right? Second one is supports. What is the meaning of supports is if parent supports, then only child supports. If I have an annotation at parent level, then only transaction object will be shared. If the parent doesn't have any transaction object, it will not be shared. A small difference to required and supports is in required, it will create a transaction object. If required is not there, it will not create. Okay. So if the parent is already having a transaction object, it will share. If the parent does not have any transaction object, it will not create. In case of supports, in case of required, it will create. Okay. Very small difference. Like how you can think of is if my father is earning, I will also earning. All the money will with one account or will keep every money. Okay, one transaction object. Okay, if my father is not earning, definitely Nikit has to earn it. So it will create a transaction object on its own, but it will not share the main object. So that is a supports level. Okay, and the third level is not supported. Even if you try to share, it will not part of transaction. If your employee should not be part of transaction, insurance should not be part of transaction, you can write not supported. If you are calling not supported from a transactional boundary, then transaction will be ignored. This is the three things I have explained in yesterday's class. Okay. And I have given a spreadsheet with the three combinations required, supports, as well as not supported. Before proceed further today on the next points, anyone, any questions so far? Today's my agenda is I will cover the remaining three, right? Mandatory, not supported, never. Mandatory, never, requires due. These are the three things I'm going to explain. And I'll teach partial commit, partial rollback. Half commit, half rollback, partial commit as well as partial rollback, which I'm going to cover as part of this. Okay. So before I proceed further, anyone, any questions so far? Anyone, guys? I hope everyone is clear, able to hear me, right? Everyone is clear, right? Okay. No questions. Okay. Guys, can someone please confirm if you are able to hear me clearly, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
we are able to hear you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you. Just a splinter of silence means I got a doubt whether is there any problem at my side in voice side. Okay, thank you. Next one is, so in case of not supported, even you call from a transactional boundary. I'm telling that, right? If you are calling from a transactional boundary, my organization service is required. Require means it is having a transactional boundary. Okay. And whereas if you are writing a employee service not supported, so it will not give any error. It will not throw exception. The reason is I am telling to create a transaction object, but you are telling you are not supported. You are not supported. So it will simply ignore that. It will not give any error. So whenever you say not supported, if you call from a transactional boundary, I will not work. If you are not calling from a transactional boundary, also my behavior is same. Okay. Some sense will be there. If you end or if you don't end, I will not end. I'll simply sit at my home, enjoy with anything. If you earn, you keep it with you. Don't give it to me. If you're not earning, don't give it to me. I'll be my side. That is not supported. I'm not at all part of anything. I will run on my own. That is called as not, but it will not give any error. That is a case of not supported. Okay. Now, what is that is never. Same like not supported, similar to like not supported, it will throw exception. I'm telling you strictly, I will not participate in any transaction at all. If you call from a transactional boundary, I'll throw you error. Okay. Sun is telling clearly, I will not give money to you. Okay. Not supported means even if you ask, if you don't ask, I will not give money. It's a simple. Never means if you ask, I will complain about you. I will give a complaint in police station. Something like criminal. I'll throw exception first of all. If you are calling from a transactional boundary, I'll throw exception. That is called as never. You always should call employee service in a non-transactional boundary. It will never part of any transaction. In case of not supported, it will ignore. It will execute without transaction. But here it will throw exception. If you are calling from a transactional boundary, you will get an exception. If you are not calling from a transactional boundary, it will work. Make sense? So that is called as never. If you see here in case of never, okay. Can we see never with? Required never supports. What is going to happen, guys? Organization service is required. Okay. Right? Employee service never. Insurance service supports. What is going to happen? It will throw exception, right? You are calling employee from org. Org is calling employee, right? Org is having required, right? It should not call, right? It will throw exception. Am I right? Sir, following, right, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Required never, never. exception.
Yeah.
Not
Following,
support. Yeah.
sorry. Following at the time a bit confusing. Okay.
Mhm.
Whatever we are worried is, at least for me, okay, as of now we are following, but at the same time, I think we tend to forget very fast.
That's fine. That is common. Okay. So by default, these are not really useful. At the time of interview, it is useful. That's what I gave a comment. I gave example, right? It is best example. You can remember everything. Okay. Never means I'll throw exception. If you call from a transactional boundary, it will throw exception. Now here required means it will call transactional boundary, right? It will throw exception. Not supported, never. No transaction, no error. Not supported means it's a transaction itself is not there. Transaction itself is not there. Its transaction itself is there. They're not there. No support. I mean, no transaction, no error. Supports, never. Here also no transaction, right? Support bits not going to create, right? Never, required. My org is not having any transaction, but employee is having required, insurance is required. Two transaction objects will be created. So first of all, even though you don't know, nothing will happen. Only few people will ask interview questions and it doesn't matter. Mainly you need to think about required as well as requires new, which I'm going to teach. The remaining things are common. Okay. But you can understand easily. How you can understand? Required means always creates a transaction object. Support means if my parent supports, I'll support. If my parent does not support, I'll not support. Not supported means always not supports. Never means always not supports. If you call, I'll throw exception. These are the different ones. And combination, you need to think of. Any confusion? Do I need to explain anything again?
No.
Okay.
It's good.
Yes. So error, no transaction, no error in both the cases. Next one is quite opposite to that is mandatory. Never means no transaction. Mandatory means transaction should be there. Okay. You should have a transaction. Father is telling, if you are not earning, I'll beat you. You need to. Otherwise, you are not allowed to stay in my house. It's a mandatory. Okay, few fathers. What happens in first case? Required, right? Okay, man. I'm earning. I'm having good money. If you earn, I'll join with you. If you don't earn, also fine. In case of supports, if you earn, and it will be ignored. Understand? 1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay, yeah. And in case of not supported, if you earn, I'll take it. If you don't earn, I'll not take it. No error, no exception. Never means I will never earn. If you ask me to earn, I'll complain. And mandatory means you need to earn. If you're not earning, I'll complain. Father will complain. So that is a mandatory. Mandatory means you need to have a transaction. If your transaction object is not there, it will provide error. It will provide exception. You need to call from a transactional boundary. That is a mandatory. And if you see about mandatory, okay, required, never, mandatory. It will exception, right? Never means it should not call, right? This is exception. Required, mandatory. One transaction object. Supports, mandatory. Supports means not is creating a transaction object, right? So it will give error. Required, supports, mandatory. It will create a transaction object and one transaction object is required. Mandatory, required. By default, mandatory means you should have a transaction object, and required, it will give error, right? So error in both the, I mean, it is going to have two transaction, employee one transaction, insurance one transaction. So this is the case here. Okay. Now the last but not least, which is requires new. Okay, the last case which is important for us, requires new. 90% of the cases will use requires, which is full commit, full rollback. 5% of the cases will use partial commit, partial rollback. What do you mean by partial commit? What do you mean by partial rollback? For example, okay, in my transaction management example, okay, in my transaction management example, Vijay error, Vijay is the employee. He is trying to create an insurance with test. Okay. Vijay is the employee. He is trying to insert into the test. It will fail, right? Yes or no? It will fail, right? But how Vijay knows the failure is happening? He cannot go to the logs, right? He cannot go to the logs, or he cannot know that, right? What is a business scenario is they're asking me to create an audit table. If Vijay employee is success, employee Vijay is created successfully. Insurance of Vijay is success. Insurance is created successfully for the Vijay. If employee Vijay is failed, you'll update your audit table. If insurance of Vijay is failed, you need to update your insurance table with failed. Okay. So employee table as well as insurance table, it should be updated either success or failed. So what is full commit, full rollback? Both employee should be there as well as insurance should be there. That is full commit. Full rollback means if any one of the things are failed, both should be rolled back. That is full commit, full rollback. We already saw that. Now, what is partial commit, partial rollback is? Commit means audit table always should be, audit table should always commit. I should know employee Vijay is created successfully. I should know insurance is created successfully. I want audit table should be committed irrespective of employee table, irrespective of insurance table. I want the audit table to be completed successfully, irrespective of employee table, irrespective of insurance table. Partial commit, audit to be committed. Partial rollback, these two will roll back in case of failure. Understand? So what is my next scenario is, I have three tables. Employee table as well as audit table. Sorry, employee table, insurance table, audit table. Okay? Understand, right? Employee table, insurance table, audit table. If everything is success, employee should be inserted, insurance should be inserted, two rows in the audit table. Employee should be inserted, audit to be inserted. Okay? One second, guys, one second. In case of employee or insurance is failed, I want employee to be failed, insurance to be failed, and rollback should happen only on employee table, insurance table, audit table, it should be saved. That is the situation. Makes sense, guys, everyone? Are you clear on the scenario what I'm trying to teach? Is everyone is clear on what is the scenario I'm trying to teach? Is everyone is clear?
Yes, we are trying to record an audit table whether it's success or failure.
Correct. We are going to trying to record an audit table, but audit table to be success in case
Yeah.
of success or failure.
Yes.
So that is the one. So partial commit, partial rollback is going to be partial commit means audit table should be committed under any case. Under any case, audit table to be committed successfully. Right. Any other questions so far? Okay. Now I'm going to write a code for that. You will understand clearly. So I'm going to create an audit table. New audit. Let me take the few columns here. So at the rate of entity, the rate of table name is equal to TBL underscore audit. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have two columns. One is audit ID at the rate of ID at the rate of generated value, generation type at the rate of column. Okay. I have audit ID, audit description. What is the description? Possible values? Insurance of Vijay failed with scheme name as test. Employee Vijay saved successfully. Something like I want to audit, like this is a string I want to keep. Clear? So I'm going to write source, generate getters and setters, source, okay. Next, generate toastring. So this is audit table, right? Next one is I'm taking audit DAO. Audit table. Next, I'm going to write audit service. At the rate of service at the rate of auto wired private audit DAO public audit register update audit object return audit DAO dot save of audit object. Okay, makes sense, right? Now I'm going to change organization service. I like audit service also right here. At the rate of auto wired private audit service, which is equal to audit service. Okay. What I am trying to do is little bit of code I am going to change here in such a way that so I'm going to take care of audit. Update audit, I guess. Update audit, update audit, update audit. So what is that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a required propagation here. Okay. First, I will try employee. That is transaction one. First transaction object, right? Please listen carefully, guys. This is very, very important. Whenever I write required, transaction one is created. Employee will be saved. If employee is saved successfully, I need to update audit, right? Employee creation is success for the employee. But I want this to be in a different transaction. What I'm going to do here in audit service, I'm going to write requires new. I'm going to write audit as a separate transaction. So T2 will be created. This audit will be executed in T2. T1 is not committed to database yet. T2 is going to commit it. Assuming that T1 itself is failed, I'll take care employee creation is failed. I am updating the audit in a different transaction. I am updating the audit in a different transaction. Make sense? Understand, right, guys? Yes. So employee dot get employee ID. If it is success, I will update success. If it is not there, I will update as a fail. This is a first case. Next one is insurance object. If insurance object is less than or equal to 4 characters, okay. If it is less than or equal to 4 characters, I'm telling that insurance creation is failed with the insurance scheme name for the employee, and I'll throw exception. That is in T3 new transaction object. T2 is over. Already this is over. And whenever this audit is done, transaction is over. It requires new means it's a new transaction. Now it's time T3. Now it will take care of register insurance, and my T1 employee is T1, insurance is also T1, but T2, T3 are audit. This is typically with respect to requires new. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the code. I will go to database 9 to 10 batch. Take an example where TBL underscore employee, TBL underscore insurance. So two records are there, employee as well as insurance. Okay. What I am doing is I'm going to create success record now. First of all, I'm going to create a success record here. I'm taking Sandhya employee and COVID top up. This is a scheme name. It will success, right? So totally in audit table to be success, insurance table to be success, employee table to be success. Everything is success. I'll show you. So run as Spring Boot app. You saw here, audit table is created. It's inserted, audit table. It inserted into audit table. Finally, it inserted into employee. Finally, it inserted into insurance. You saw first audit table is inserted. Audit table is created. First audit table is inserted. Second audit table is inserted. Then employee table. Then insurance table. So if you see here, you have one more table called as audit. For example, employee. Sandhya is created, right? 30. Employee Sandhya is created. Insurance is also created, right? 30 to 30. Top up. COVID top up. Now audit table. Employee creation is success for Sandhya. Insurance creation is success for Sandhya. Right? This is a success scenario. Now I'll take a one more example. This time I'll take a failure. Okay.
Save employee need to insert first, right, sir? Like,
What is it now?
first we are saving T1 transaction. We are calling the code.
Correct, madam. But the T1 will be over when? The transaction T1 will be over. All this method is over. Then only T1 will be over. Because it's required annotation. The required annotation is only one transaction object, right? But whereas T2 will be new transaction. This is a new transaction altogether. If you see here, I wrote a new transaction. Transaction will be available till the scope. Here transaction will be available till the scope. Entire should be over. Clear, ma'am?
Okay, sir. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep. Now here I'm saving a record with a name. I'm going to take a name with Ashwini. I'll take error. This will error, right? Now you see what happens here. You got error, but you need to see the sequence. Insert into audit came. Again insert into audit came, but no employee insert, no insurance insert. Now you see here Ashwini record is created. No Ashwini record. Does Ashwini's insurance is created? No Ashwini's insurance. But audit table, you see here, employee creation is success for Ashwini. Insurance is creation is failed with insurance name as test for the employee Ashwini. My audit table is success. My employee table is rollback. My insurance table is rollback. Correct, right? So this is the typical case of requires new. This is a typical case of requires new. Anyone, any questions so far? Any typical questions, anyone? Today, no one is asking questions. I'm not sure whether it's interesting or not interesting or boring or everyone is clear or a mixed response. Okay,
Yeah, good. Yeah, Vijay.
okay, cool. As long as you're good, I'm fine. Yes. Now, next, I'm going to explain very important topic in my course. Till now, to be really frank, whatever I teach till now, like data GPA, advanced data GPA, transaction management. These are three topics so far I covered, right? If you have some knowledge and if you opt for any Udemy sessions or any YouTube sessions or anything, you can at least understand. You can follow. You don't require a great instructor to give you a knowledge because you can understand easily the topics whichever I discussed so far. But the topic, upcoming topic is the security is the topic. You definitely require a good instructor. It's not that much simple to understand clearly. And it is your deciding factor for career. It's a completely deciding factor, your career growth. Okay. What I am planning is I'm going in depth of security. Okay. So topic is transaction management with requires new. Which is equal to 9 to 10 November. Okay, this is a so far I. Now related to security, guys, I want to give a brief heads up. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, classes are very important. And if you miss one class, you cannot understand upcoming classes. In till now, even if you miss on a JPA point or a transaction management point, you can still understand. But security, it's a very difficult to understand because 70% of the code is written by the framework only. Very few lines of code we are going to write. 70% of the code is written by the framework only. Very few lines of code we are going to write. So we need to understand framework as well as we need to understand developer point of view also. So what I'm trying to say is really you joined a session, you will get advantage to my sessions. If you are expert on security, if you are expert on microservices, these are the two topics where you can only get a knowledge from these sessions only, from outside of sessions, because they are not that much collaborative. If you have a question you cannot answer, you cannot get a knowledge. Here you can ask and write questions and you can take care everything, right? So what I am looking is nothing but typically what I am trying to tell you. what I'm looking for that is typically you need to join daily. You need to practice the code daily. In case if you are not attending, make sure that you have a recording subscription better. But it's not important, guys. Recording is always not important. If you feel that, yes, sir, I can join daily, no need to worry. I can join daily. Okay. So typically you can take care of that. Understand? So
Yes, sir.
I've given a right introduction and I'll please, and it's not that much easy to understand also. But it's my responsibility. It's an instructor responsibility, right? I will feed the knowledge into your brains till you follow. It's my responsibility. If you attend the class, that's your choice. And feeding the knowledge into your brain is my responsibility. You don't need to worry about that. Okay. And ask n number of questions till you follow. Then it's easy for me. I'll give a right knowledge. And in middle, if you feel that, sir, we are not able to understand, if you want, I'll skip advanced topics also. But I sincerely request, how much knowledge you want, that much knowledge I'll give. It's up to you. For example, there will be sugar cane will be there, right? A person who is extracting the sugar cane juice from sugar cane, what he will do? He will squeeze he will squeeze and squeeze and squeeze the sugar cane till he gets the last drop. Right? You saw that, right? Like that, you can squeeze me. Okay? I'll be very, very happy. How much you squeeze, that much knowledge you will get it. Understand, guys? So from tomorrow onwards, classes are very, very interesting. And if you feel that they are interesting, it will make you more interesting. So my humble request is two things: join the classes daily, practice daily, ask the questions wherever it's required, especially till security. 15 to 20 classes I will take only for security, not days, classes. I'll go in depth of security. Okay.
Sir, I have one question on the transactional. Like, is there any concept of class level and method level transactional management?
By default, it will always at method level, not at class level. Okay. You
Okay.
cannot write transaction at class level because it's a typically yet transaction is at method level only, right? Yes.
Okay.
One quick question. You are taking sessions in the morning also, right? In another batch?
Recently 7 to 8 is started, but it's a recent. We are still starting JP on.
Okay.
Almost 10 to 15 classes
10 to
back.
No, the
Maybe
reason
10 classes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Till now, I don't have problem. Unfortunately, my project, it started a call from 9:30 to 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Maybe if you are at 10 days of okay, that's fine. Maybe you can shift.
Yeah,
Because
either I will shift or can I join that one also? Like after this, like I will try to cover on my own. Since
no,
it's
no, no.
9:30.
Any of the thing, any of one of the thing you need to choose. You cannot
Okay.
choose both. Okay. Yeah, it's not possible. Yeah.
Okay.
There is one attribute also, rollback of attribute, What is that?
Sorry, I didn't understand what you're asking also, please.
There is one attribute for rollback.
No need of knowing or because framework is taking care automatically rolling back. In Spring AOP, you need to write the code. In Spring Boot, you no need to write. You no need to write a code for commit.